1, 2, 3, 4. Girl, to be with you is my favorite thing. And I can't wait now to see you again. Yeah, yeah. I wanna put on my boogie shoes just to boogie with you. I wanna put on my boogie shoes just to boogie with you. I wanna do it till the sun comes up. I wanna do it till I can't get enough. Oh yeah. I wanna put on my boogie shoes just to boogie with you. I wanna put on my boogie shoes just to boogie with you. All right, now we do that without the capo. 1, 2, 3, 4. Girl, to be with you is my favorite thing. And I can't wait now to see you again. Yeah. I wanna put on my boogie shoes just to boogie with you. I wanna put on my boogie shoes just to boogie with you, yeah. Hey everybody, Gary here with Pow Music, and in this video we're gonna go over Boogie Shoes by KC and the Sunshine Band. So I just did a lesson on the electric guitar parts as they're played on the album. But I wanna help you also build your repertoire for just, sitting around playing songs on the acoustic guitar, or maybe you're just a beginner and the electric guitar parts are too much, or maybe you like to sing and you just want to sing and play some songs. So first I'm going to go over the structure of this song. It's a really important structure that you understand. It's based on the blues progression. And then once we get the structure down, we'll go more in depth on the strumming pattern and how to play it with the capo and open chords and also with bar chords. If you want to follow along with the downloadable song sheet, that's available for Pow Music patrons, and the link is in the description. So this song, as performed and the way that I just sang it, is in the key of B flat major, okay? So the note B flat is on the 6th fret of the low E string right here, right? And that is the root note of what we call the 1 chord, the first chord in the key, B flat major. Then the 4 chord, 1, 2, 3, 4, do, re, mi, fa. The root note of that chord is E flat. There's our 4 chord. And then 5, up 1 from that, do, re, mi, fa, so, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the root note of our 5 chord, F. Now, the second way you saw me play it was these bar chords, right? This is what we call an E-shaped bar chord because it looks like an E. Here's an E if I played it without my index finger and pretended my index finger was behind the nut. If I slide that up to here to B flat, that's a B flat major. Then this one, E flat, that's what we call the A shape of an E flat major chord, because if I played an A, let's say like this, and I slid it up, right? There's our E flat, same thing for the F. So you want to see that 1, 4, 5 looks like this. 1, 4, 5. It's an L shape. If I look at a B flat, let's say right here, same thing, L shape. 1, 4, 5. That's B flat, E flat, F, just like it is here. B flat, E flat, F. Right? So that's the second way I played it. But first let's go over the easier way with the capo. So how do I play a B flat chord with a capo? Well, it's a root note on the low E string, so I want to use my G shape, right? I want to play everything as if I'm in the key of G. So when I play a G chord, that's on the 3rd fret where I start, right? So now I want to make B flat my 3rd fret. So I'm going to put my capo on the 3rd fret, and if I put my capo on the 3rd fret, now my B flat is on the 3rd fret from the capo. See that? So now I could play my G shape instead of playing this. I could just play a G shape. And then for my E flat, I could just play a C shape. And then for my F, well, that's the same as the third open string. So I could just play a D chord. See how this note right here is the same as the open D string? So I could play my D shape. So I've got G, C, D. Now you could play this in any key you want. You could slide the capo around and just use these G shapes, right? Or you could just move these bar chords around, you know? Wherever you want to play it, you could play it depending on your voice, however. So with that in mind, a blues progression, a real basic one, which this uses, goes 4 measures of the 1 chord, G. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Strum it anyway. Then 2 measures of the 4 chord, C. Then back to the 1 chord for 2 measures. So that brings us to 8 measures. Now the next one goes 5 chord for 1 measure. Then 4 chord for 1 measure, and then back to the 1 chord for 2 measures. So that's a basic 12-bar blues, right? Now, what's interesting about this song is that my boogie shoes. We do that one more time, so we tag those last 4 bars. So one more time, we go D, C, G, right? So putting it all together, just the structure. See if you could just strum along with me any which way, and then we'll get into a strumming pattern. First thing you want is the structure before trying to get fancy. 1, 2, here we go. G, 2, 3, 4, G, 2, 3, 4, G, 3, 4, G, 2, 3, 4, C, 2, 3, 4, C, 2, 3, 4, G, 2, 3, 4, G. Okay, now we go to D, then C, then G. And now we tag those last 4 bars again. D, C, G. Okay, now that we understand the structure, let's talk a little bit about technique. So whenever I play in the key of G, and of course we're in the key of B flat, but we're just thinking like we're in the key of G because we have the capo on, I like to use the G that uses fingers 2, 3, and 4. So I leave out my index finger. So I do ring finger, middle finger, pinky. Okay, and I call that finger 3, finger 2, finger 4. Index is finger 1, thumb is thumb. Then for the C, all I have to do is drop these 2 fingers down 1 string, lift up the pinky, and put down the index. And there's my C. So you want to work on that transition. And then for my D, I just drop this finger down to here, and then put these 2 down. Then for the C, this one comes back up to here, and then back up to the G, right? Now, one thing I recommend for getting any chord changes is hovering your fingers. You want to be able to build the chord in the air and not have to rely on the fretboard. So see if you could hover your fingers over that G shape, then drop it down and play. Then hover your fingers over that C shape, then drop it down and play. Then hover your fingers over that D shape, then drop it down and play. That's how you know you really got that shape embedded into your muscle memory. All right, so strum pattern. Now any strum pattern will do, you know. See if you can start with a simple strum pattern. Like I could just go down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down. But I'm gonna try to accent the 2 and the 4. That's gonna really give it that kind of funky 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Girl, to be with you is my favorite thing. And I can't wait till I see you again. I wanna put on my boogie shoes just to boogie with you, right? That's totally fine. Once you get comfortable with that, then maybe try to do the girl, to be with you is my favorite thing. I'm trying to do this kind of mute on the 2 and the 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Similar to Proud Mary by CCR or Tina Turner. Now the way I get that mute is to just release pressure on the chord. Don't take your fingers away and flatten your fingers a little bit. See that? So my fingers, I've released pressure, but they're still touching where they need to be, and I've flattened them out. It's really important that you don't move your fingertips. You just flatten out your fingers and release pressure. Then you can get right back down. So I'm doing like a down, mute, up, mute, up, down, mute, up, mute. And I'm keeping this constant wrist, right? So anytime I'm on the beat, I go down. Anytime I'm on the upbeat, I go up. So it's 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4. If you want to go really in depth on this kind of strumming technique, check out my Super Strummer course, 7 Levels to Strumming Freedom. We start with the very basics of good strumming technique and then go all the way to kind of complicated funk strumming with these guided workouts. So I'll link that in the description. So I'm doing this kind of down, mute, up, mute, up, down, mute, up, mute. Now I take a little break so I could switch the chords. So down, mute, up, mute, up, down, mute, up, mute, break, down, mute, up, mute. So on the C, same thing with the mute, down, mute, up, mute, up, down, mute, up, mute. When we get to the D chord, there's all these strings, so it's a little harder to just release pressure. So sometimes I use my pinky as a mute. I just lay my pinky over. So that's kind of the basis. But now once I start singing, it all kind of goes out the window a little bit, and I definitely vary it up a little more. So it's also going to take a while to maintain any semblance of a strum pattern while you're singing. I had to rehearse this for like, a few minutes before I started the video, but you want to go really slow with trying to put together the singing and playing and, trying to meld those two things together. So if we just look at like the first line, just the words "girl to be with you." Girl to be with you. 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 Now it's getting significantly easier every time I do it, right? I practiced like 3 minutes before the video, probably should have practiced like 40 minutes, right? To like really feel comfortable with it. But now I've got to think, when does the word girl come in? Girl, it comes like girl, girl, girl. It comes right before the chuck, right? And right after a strum. Girl, 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 girl to be with you. See, the U, I tried to strum with it. Girl to be with you. So you want to figure out where those hard syllables, the ones where you're trying to follow with your strumming, where they land, and just isolate that little spot and loop it until you've got it. And once you get that with one line, then usually each line in the verse kind of repeats the same kind of rhythm. And all that work you spend on the first line will help you with the next line and the next line and the next line. All right, so now if we look at the bar chords, now I'm going to talk about the chords as what they actually sound as, even though I was calling this G. When I was going like this, it's still a B flat, right? Because it sounds as a B flat. So now, this is the other way I played it. The thing with the bar chord, depending on your acoustic guitar setup, might be really hard. But what I like to do is kind of bring my elbow in and get the kind of side of my finger to lay across the fret. And I kind of twist. It's more of a twist than a squeeze, because this muscle is stronger than these little muscles here, and you can get some fatigue in here. So I do a little bit of a twist. I get the side of the finger because that gives me some wiggle room, whereas straight on there's zero wiggle room. And then by bringing in my elbow, I can get my fingertips to just point straight in, like perpendicular to the fretboard. See, I got my pick just sitting on my fingertip, whereas if I was flat, that wouldn't work out. So elbow in, do a little bit of a twist. Your thumb is straight up and down on the back of the neck, kind of behind the first finger and a little off to the side. And you kind of drop your wrist a little bit because we got to get this kind of clipper thing. We've got to get this to be straight like a statue, and just kind of have the neck be right in between that index and that thumb. See if you can get all these to ring out. And then by pulling the elbow in, you can put these fingertips straight in. Okay, there's your B flat chord. Now it's really easy to do the on bar chords because this index finger is covering all the strings. So it's very unlikely any of those notes are going to ring out. Okay, then on these bar chords, E flat and F, it's a little the opposite. The elbow comes back out. So instead of coming in this way, it's a little more out that way. And I personally like to use my pinky, but we can also do this with the ring finger, third finger. Over the last few years, I switched over to the pinky. I don't know why. I think because my elbow comes out less on the pinky, whereas on the ring, it has to come out a little more. And I also, over time, my pinky's gotten much stronger. But either work. And now I'm a little bit towards the outer edge of the ring finger on the bar. And now it's the ring finger that's straight up and down. Now the thing is, you want to angle it in a way that you're muting the high E string, but you hear the B string. The B string is really important because that's the third of the chord. That's what makes it major. But see, the E is muted, so I just angle it in such a way by controlling how forward I push my wrist. And then the index just grabs the root note. Now I also like to mute the low E string with the tip of the index finger. And over time, you'll get a perfect feel for that. If you're barring the high E string, that's called a major 6 chord. So this would be an E flat 6, and this would be an F6. Definitely not going to work. You're better off just playing power chords, which would be muting the B string by accident, than playing a major 6 chord. All right, so that's really it. All right, everybody, hope you enjoyed that lesson. Happy playing, have fun. I'll see you next time.